Hey, I'm Erin. My stepfather was physically abusive, and that was pretty tough. And my mom, to make things more interesting, she was bipolar and not medicated. He was an alcoholic, did drugs. He was just so broken as well. He couldn't love me the way a daughter should be loved, so when I was 15 years old, that's when the Columbine shootings happened, and I went up to go to the funerals of two of my friends who had died in the shootings. I went to the airport. The lady at the counter said, "Hey, you're in the wrong line." When I boarded the plane, I realized she had upgraded me to first class. But a man came and sat down next to me. He started asking me questions about my life. He asked me if I was in church, and I said, well, no, but I'd been going to these Young Life meetings. He was writing down all of the stuff that I was saying and just writing thoughts down, and I asked him, I said, why are you writing all this down? And he said, well, I'm an author. He said, my name's Josh McDowell. It was great conversation, and he walked me to my connecting flight. He called the Young Life offices in Baton Rouge. He told the Young Life leaders, he said, you have to find this girl and you have to help her. They found me, and the one in particular that found me, her name is Christy, and she's still a huge part of my life. She's one of my best friends, spiritual mentors, and Josh McDowell had sponsored my attendance at Young Life camps. I had just graduated, and I was on a backpacking trip with Young Life. Just kind of was learning about the value of a father to a daughter, and I got a phone call on my cell phone on the way home from the trip, and my sister called and told me that our dad had terminal cancer. He ended up dying 6 weeks later, 2 days after I turned 18. He died of cancer, and we never got to know each other, never got to say I'm sorry. We just never got to have it out, and he never knew me. I never knew him, and so it was done. So I started school at LSU a few weeks after my dad died, and I don't know what happened. Just kind of went off the deep end and kind of walked away. Went and saw what was in the distant land for a while, and drank a lot, partied a lot. I did that for about 4 years of college. Between my freshman and sophomore year at LSU, I had to move back in with my mother. And at this time, my mom was just harder into drugs and alcohol than she had ever been. I came home for the weekend from my duty and realized my mom had packed up a U-Haul and left. She was like 4 or 5 months behind on rent, and so the landlord told me, you need to get out now. During my senior year at LSU, I just decided this isn't working anymore, and I'd gotten out of a really bad, abusive relationship with a guy, and I just fell to my knees one night, and I was like, I can't live like this anymore, God. Like, I don't know what to do, and kind of made the decision, like, I'm gonna run back. I'm going back. My mom had packed up a U-Haul and left, and didn't tell me. She disappeared. I didn't speak to her ever again. After the day she called me and told me, hey, I left and I'm not coming back, I told her, I was like, you left me, you abandoned me, and I had no money and nowhere to go, and so I was pretty upset at that. So I told her, I was like, I will never speak to you again. Okay, so a year ago, my sister called me one night, and yeah, our mom had committed suicide. She overdosed on a bunch of drugs and slit her wrists and died by herself on her kitchen floor. Found a note that I'd written to her when I was a kid in her wallet, and just knowing that she held on to me. It's like, how am I supposed to trust you with forever when everything leading up to now has just been like blow after blow after blow, and it's I wanna do what you want me to do, but I have so much trouble believing that you're good. Because I don't see it. I'm just like so eaten up with unbelief and fear right now. It's just paralyzing. I'm paralyzed and I'm moving on. It's like a lot of days it's just like, is that even possible? Everything that's happened to me, if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't know God. You see God stick his hand in and grab you. When I think about being a parent myself, like my daughters will never know half the pain that I have endured, and they will know what it's like to be a part of a family who loves Jesus and who will follow him, and they will be valued and loved. I'm Erin, and that is my story.